Welcome to a new episode of the You're Not Wrong podcast, the podcast where Gen Xer and a millennial talk about culture back then, culture right now, and mostly agree to disagree. My name's Elizabeth. I'm the millennial.
Oh, are you? I'm Nicole, and I'm the Gen Xer.
And today we're going to talk about why you're not wrong if you're very sketched out by a company called TEMU.
This freaking TEMU.
Have you heard of this?
Only because somehow it's infiltrated some of my feeds, and I keep seeing this like translucent cosmetic case pop up. That's the ad. That's TEMU
That's
ad.
the one that they're like, that's for her.
She wants that. And I'm like, what the fuck is TEMU? I don't know what it is.
You're about to find out.
Oh, God.
All right, let's get into it.
All right.
So, yeah, if you have been on your phone in the last few months or less, then you've definitely seen an ad from a company called TEMU. So it's spelled TEMU.
Yeah.
And you'll recognize it because it's like got a huge orange logo, right? It's like an orange logo, and then it says TEMU, and then it's got like what appears to be some Asian language.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about?
I can't, like, again, it's so like weird. It pops up in the randomest places.
I was just gonna say, yeah, you'll probably see it. You'll see ads, right? You'll see them on Instagram, Facebook,
I see them on Instagram,
Twitter. If you play any mobile gaming apps, you've probably seen them. And it's always an ad promising you like really, really, really cheap stuff.
Yeah.
Or sometimes even free stuff.
I never seen free.
And it'll be a woman that's like, I got this for free. You know, it's very like NPC voice, which have you heard about that trend?
Yes, of course I have. Yeah. Ice cream so good.
I want to get away. I gotta get out of here.
Crazy. What's
This world sucks, man.
It's
Okay.
really weird.
So anyway, TEMU, this app.
What is it?
It's gotten very popular very quickly.
Why?
And it is actually right now the #1 downloaded app in iOS, and it has been for about 6 months.
What?
It's been all the top 10 staples. So think Amazon, Walmart for shopping, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Twitter, the new Threads app, not even close to TEMU.
Yeah.
And all kinds of, you go on the apps like mobile games and stuff.
Yeah.
Like no,
TEMU's
TEMU is #1.
TEMU's #1.
TEMU is #1. And so, what is TEMU?
I still don't know. I don't know.
Let's talk about it. Okay. So, and everything I'm about to say, I just want to preface by saying, all I got from a lot of sources.
Okay.
So to name a few, or like the ones that I pulled a lot from would be CNN, ZDNet, Time, and Insider, who have all done like a lot of investigation around TEMU and what the hell this thing even is. So TEMU was established in September of 2022. So not even a year old.
Damn.
Yeah, exactly. And it is headquartered in Boston, Massachusetts.
What? I thought it was in China.
We'll talk about this.
Okay.
It's interesting. So what is it, you ask? You've asked me multiple times. I like when I don't answer. Like, I like when I just keep leading. Okay, so TEMU is an online digital marketplace.
So like Amazon.
Yeah, it's essentially like Amazon or AliExpress, if you remember that one, if you were around for that.
From it, but
I never did either, but I shop from Amazon. Like, I'm a human being alive in 2023 living in America. And so, yeah, it's an e-commerce site, so it's an online shop, and you go in, it's a marketplace. So in theory, like, all these companies can put up all their products, and honestly, it has everything from car accessories, clothes, home goods, jewelry, cleaning supplies, lingerie, back to school items, you name it, it is on TEMU.
Is it name brand stuff?
No. No, and we will get into that because let me tell you. So in case anyone is interested, TEMU actually stands for Team Up, Price Down.
I thought it was TEMU.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that is from, but I found that on like
Team Up, Price
I
Down.
found that in there about
TEMU.
it's I mean, maybe that's what it, I don't know, dude. I don't know. Like, this is
Team Up.
That's what I got.
Team Up, Price Down.
We're just going to refer to it as
Team U.
TEMU. Yeah.
Okay.
So last night, I have not shopped from Temu.
Me neither.
Thank God. But
I don't want them knowing me.
we'll get into this. I did go online last night. I did not download the app, but I checked out their homepage last night online, and these are a few of the things that I found. So I took screenshots if you want to see. There's like sunflower earrings.
Ugly.
There's a microwave cover for $3. There's 250 zip ties.
What?
Which is
scary,
concerning, and I don't know why it gave me that. Like car cup holders, or no, coasters to put in your car cup holders.
Okay.
A brush to clean your shower, overhead cabinet lights. There's a floor mat for your bathroom. There's these knockoff AirPods that are $11.
If you want to.
$11.69. Nice. Some slippers, and then what looks like a stapler, but apparently is a cherry pitter.
Where is this stuff from?
Why
Elizabeth?
do you need that? This is from Temu.
Does it have lead in it?
So
this looks like Wish.com.
You might
remember Wish?
Wish. I would put Wish in the category, of this.
A bunch of junk.
So you might be wondering to yourself, is this legit?
I don't want them knowing my information. That's all I know.
It's a good question. You didn't ask it, but if you were to ask me that, I would respond that is a good question. And the short answer is yes. They
legit.
are legit. The long answer is long.
What's the long answer?
So
it's either legit or not.
So, okay, on top of so basically their whole shtick is that they sell you these really cheap consumer goods.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So like I said, you have like a pair of knockoff AirPods for like $11, right? Which would normally be like $100, $150. That's their thing. But on top of that, they also give you opportunities to earn credits on Temu. And you can do that through a spin the wheel game that they did try to get me to play last night. And I was like, stop. And then every time I did something, it was like, play. I was like, no, go away. It was like really aggressive.
Stop. Why didn't you do it? So they can get all your information and never leave you alone.
You can get the spin the wheel game will give you credits to get even cheaper goods, like, or you get knockdown prices on stuff you want, or you get free gifts. So like that's when you get the ad that's like, oh, you can have free stuff on Temu. That's what they're talking about.
Okay.
And then not only that, but you can also earn these credits if you get friends to join.
That sounds about right.
So a lot of what you might have seen also is like if you've seen anyone post on like Facebook, Twitter, TikTok talking about Temu or whatever, that's because they want you to use their code so that they can get free stuff.
I've seen some influencers on Instagram talk about Temu. I'm like, why is she talking about Temu all of a sudden? And nobody knows what it is.
Right, and they've been doing like they've been
hammering
influencers. Okay. Yeah. And a lot of them will use like the same canned language, which is how you can tell that it's an advertisement. If you're not like super media literate, that's always if everyone's saying the exact phrase, like it's probably an advertisement.
Yeah.
But yes, it really does offer free stuff. And the thing is, like, you know, when we're talking about how it got so popular so fast.
Yeah.
It's a few things. One, COVID really reinvigorated.
It's always COVID.
COVID really, yeah, it is. COVID really helped to like light a fire under the ass of e-commerce.
Okay.
So everyone got used to shopping online. So even people who might not have shopped online previously are now probably doing that a lot more. They've changed behavior. Yeah,
I do more.
Even though you can go to a store, you're probably going to be more likely or more comfortable doing that.
Yeah,
so that's
I still
one.
prefer going in person, but there's times now where I'm like, well, let me see what's on Amazon.
Right. This whole program they have to get all this free stuff and to get all these items at like really reduced costs, that has definitely helped their proliferation, right? Because people are sharing it in their networks and
algorithm going crazy.
Exactly. So that's another part of it. But then the third, I would say, big part is, I don't know if you've heard about this.
What?
We're kind of in the middle of a recession.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A little familiar.
So,
a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, whether you, I guess, think we're in the recession or at the beginning of the recession or like,
considering how much stuff costs.
I know, but like every time I talk to someone, they're like, well, it's not happened yet. And I'm like, I don't know, man.
Have you looked around?
Have you paid your electric bill? Because holy shit.
Big Mac meal, $10. Listen.
So
maybe probably more at this point.
don't even get me started. I got a meal that usually is $5.68, and it was like $7.98, and I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!"
I'm telling you.
So that's I got food at home prices.
Yeah, it is.
And you're McDonald's, so
and you're McDonald's.
Get your shit together.
Of the cheap.
So yeah, the recession is definitely like a big factor in why a store like TEMU can do so well.
Okay.
Because, like for example, last night I went on and. There was a large section for back to school. Back to school fashion, back to school supplies. Okay. So if you're a family who you're trying to make ends meet, you know, you don't have, your dollar doesn't go as far as it used to, you still need the same amount of supplies. You still need clothes for your kids. Yeah. So using using your money in places like TEMU where you can kind of get a little bit more for your money seems like the choice for a lot of people right now.
But the stuff that they have, do you actually want that stuff?
So that's a good question. So Time reports, and I just pulled this like from them because I thought they said it really well, but TEMU is starting to develop a reputation for undelivered packages, mysterious charges, incorrect orders, and unresponsive customer service. They've been subject to more than 30 complaints to the BBB, Better Business Bureau, and they have a customer rating of less than 1.5 stars on the Better Business Bureau. So, you know, will you get your package? Will it be on time? Will it be what you ordered? Will it be how you thought it would be? Apparently, like, dicey, right? But my thing is, like, clearly there's so many people still using it that, like, something's going on, you know?
It's so cheap, they can't help themselves.
It can't, yeah, and it can't be, like, it can't be that it's always 100% that bad. Because if it was 100% every package was trash, then eventually people will be like, don't do that, it's a scam, don't do it.
Okay, I guess you might be right.
So, at this point, to continue talking about TEMU, I feel like I need to take a step back.
Okay.
And talk about a company called SHIEN.
Well, I mean, you act like it's from the prehistoric age. I mean, SHIEN is here and been around. I mean, it's new. You act like that's old or something.
No, but no. But
this company called PricewaterhouseCoopers. I mean,
this like, company called Macy's. Yeah. No, but so you've heard of SHIEN?
Yes, I have some SHIEN.
Okay.
I always called it SHEIN though.
No, it's SHIEN.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so the reason I bring up SHIEN is because SHIEN and TEMU are kind of like weird stepsisters.
But SHIEN has actually cute stuff.
Not that they're related.
This TEMU stuff is not that cute.
Not related. Two separate companies. Okay. But in the world of e-commerce, they kind of seem to be like in the same weird like family that moves into the neighborhood and everyone's like, who the fuck are you? But they're also super popular all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And like
where you come from.
And like everyone kind of fucks with them, but at the same time you're like,
I don't really
kind of weird though, right?
Yeah,
like something's weird about this, right? Yeah, but like of course invite her to the party. Like she's cool. So if you don't know, SHIEN is a fast fashion retailer and they produce thousands of garments and accessories at a rapid pace. So that's really been the thing that got SHIEN made them so different, was that they're not just, you know, H&M, Forever 21, Zara. There's a lot of companies that are fast fashion.
Yeah, for sure.
They come out with trends and they come out with trends rapidly. But SHIEN does it at a pace that is so, one article described it as hypersonic.
It is.
And it is. Like, I hate to say that, but it actually is.
So, you know something I learned about SHIEN? I don't know if you're going to go into it, about like what they base their designs on. I mean, you probably already know this.
What?
I mean, it's AI based. So they're going out, they're scouring the web on what's popular.
It's like you read my next bullet point.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
And then they produce it.
Yeah.
So it's all about algorithms and AI. They see, oh, everybody wants, you know, blue sunglasses. Let me whip up a pair of blue sunglasses right quick and then take over, you know, and even to the detriment of some independent designers that, you know, have created something really cool. And then all of a sudden SHIEN's like, oh, yeah, everybody wants that. Let me recreate it for a much cheaper price.
That's exactly it. So this billionaire founder, Chris Xu, XU, started the business in 2008. And it was an e-commerce site that was selling wedding dresses made in China. And its name was SHEIN.
Okay. She inside.
Yeah, it's weird. In 2015, he shifted the business to be more fashion, like fast fashion, apparel stuff, and he rebranded it into SHIEN.
Okay.
And then they didn't really they didn't really pop off though, because like Temu's very new.
Yeah.
SHEIN you would think is new because of how all of a sudden it's in, but it wasn't before. Well, with SHEIN, it rose in 2020 during the pandemic because people were buying online.
Right.
Right. And not only that, but because I think at least, you know, during the pandemic, we were all so much online that these trends, and we've talked about this before, the trends were just moving at a pace that was insane.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to keep up with the latest trends, I mean,
you better pay
good
attention
luck.
because it's going to change.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and this kind of goes into like, what is fast fashion really? And I mean, it didn't.
I always thought it was fashion that's produced quickly.
It's more like
manufactured quickly.
It is. Not really.
Oh.
So the thing is that fast fashion, it really started in the 60s and 70s. And it was when fashion trends began to change so much quicker than they used to. So then companies began to offshore a lot of their manufacturing, which we see now in like, you know, Asia or even sometimes in like South America or Central America. And it was to cut costs to make it faster because the trends were changing and people wanted
to
new
consume
stuff.
more.
Yeah, so it actually, like the fastness of it has more to do really with the trends than necessarily the production. But the production thereby is fast.
It's dictated by the trend changing so quickly.
Exactly. And obviously, you know, when you're creating something so quickly at such high demand, it is going to suffer from some quality.
Yes, right. Of course. But you begin to be okay with that.
Right.
Because you become accustomed to it. You're not used to things being well made, and then you become okay with it because the price is right, too.
And also, I think you're not thinking I'm going to wear this jacket
for
forever.
10, 15, 20 years.
Right. You're thinking this is in right now. Yep. Next year I'm going to need a new jacket. So whatever. So it starts in the 60s and 70s where like that really starts to change people's mind and opens the door for what would later be like 90s and 2000s H&M, Zara, Forever 21, like I already mentioned. They kind of popularized it, and then all of this allows a thing like SHEIN to become this like giant global e-commerce thing, right? And like you said, SHEIN gives fast fashion like a whole new take.
It's basically a technology company. That's what it sounds like to me.
It really is, because they use AI to identify trends online.
Yep.
And then they run an online-only model to churn out thousands of designs for garments in record time.
Yeah.
Then they put them on their site, see what sells, make those, ship them out. You know, so they're putting on their site at any moment there's going to be like 100,000 of new designs. But they may not
necessarily have those clothes already made. They're going to make them based on how many people are buying them.
Right. And so, well, they're going to remake them Yeah. So a lot of them don't get remade.
Right.
But
nobody's buying this, take it off the site.
Right.
Put something else up there.
But you might have a warehouse full of like 1,000 of that bikini that no one bought. And so.
Side note, you know where there's a lot of SHEIN?
Where?
Plato's Closet.
You know where there's a lot of SHEIN?
Where?
Thrift stores.
Uh-huh. Which, you know, is another issue too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, SHEIN's business model has been basically called real-time retail because it's happening.
Fancy way to say it.
It is. It's because it's happening as things are happening. So, according to BBC, there's been apparently at one time there can be as many as 600,000 items on SHEIN.
Wow, on the storefront?
Like on any given time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so a lot of that too, you know, we're talking about trends, how you have to constantly like keep up with them and all that. You know, TikTok online has helped SHEIN grow, similar to TEMU, right?
Yeah.
TikTokers, influencers talking about this. And then something happened called the SHEIN haul. So a trend online is to open hauls. So you get a bunch of stuff and you open it.
And trying on.
Well, harder to do that when you don't have a lot of money. Easier to do that when you can buy a lot of stuff at a really cheap price.
Because people do Amazon hauls all the time.
So SHEIN hauls became a thing. And, you know, you'd get all kinds of, you now you can get like home products. They're starting to expand. So they are becoming more competitive, I would say, in TEMU in the ways of like home decor.
TEMU is?
SHEIN is.
Oh, SHEIN's expanding what they offer beyond just clothes.
Yes, exactly. And Apparently, I thought this was funny. Talking about these Shein hauls, one woman filmed a box truck delivering a giant box to her driveway because she said she bought $2,000 worth of Shein products.
And it was a box truck full of stuff. Is it really that cheap?
It really is that cheap.
Damn.
Yeah. I can't say at this, and in all transparency, I have bought things from Shein.
I've bought things from SHIEN.
So, like...
But not a lot, and it's been a really long time.
But as you know, I'm also not a hypocrite, so...
Yeah.
If I do something, it's because I don't care.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So why are these two things connected? Why am I talking about SHEIN, TEMU?
And TEMU.
How do they? They're not part of the same company.
Good.
I think a lot of people, and TEMU has ads where they say even better than SHEIN.
They don't seem like it.
Right. So you would think like maybe they're like Gap and Old Navy, like they're kind of friends.
Yeah.
No, they are not.
They're not friends at all.
But other than being huge Chinese e-commerce sites that are changing the market at a rapid pace, how are they similar?
Oh my god.
What are they? Well, they're actually suing each other right now.
Oh.
Yeah. So
I know SHEIN's in trouble.
So
they got hit with a RICO charge.
So SHEIN's parent company is suing TEMU because they're alleging that TEMU created fake accounts on Twitter under SHEIN's name and trademark to get business from SHEIN, which obviously TEMU denies. TEMU is alleging that SHEIN violated antitrust laws by intimidating different manufacturers not to work with them.
Oh, sounds about right.
They're currently fighting. The girls are fighting.
Okay.
And so beyond that, in July, a group of designers filed a federal lawsuit against SHEIN, alleging that copyright infringement and racketeering.
Yeah.
So I think this kind of goes into what you were saying. They were in trouble.
Copying.
Yeah, and actually, I saw it on Instagram. I was surprised to see because, like one of the Kim Kardashian dresses I know made news. She wore a dress from a designer that I cannot remember, and like the next day it was on SHEIN.
I don't remember.
Yeah, this happened pretty recently. It was like a few days ago.
Okay.
And then Blongalati is a girl. She makes athletic apparel.
Okay.
She's alleging her designs have been stolen
by SHEIN,
and that she had conversations with their president or their CEO, and they still stole more designs after that. So she's part of the lawsuit. So yeah, these designers and these companies say that they stole their designs and sold them as products on their site, kind of owing to this AI model that they run.
Yeah.
And the court filing alleges that the copyright infringement is essentially central to their business model.
That they can't operate if they don't do this type of behavior.
Well, yeah, basically they don't have designers.
They don't. They use the algorithm to figure out what to design.
Right. And obviously SHEIN does not accept this as true. And then they also say that basically while they are a clothes store, they do not manufacture their clothes. They buy from manufacturers where SHEIN is essentially the primary customer.
Makes sense to me.
So they're saying we don't own those manufacturers.
Like, hey, I need you to make me this. And the manufacturer's like, yes, you can hire me to make you that.
Right. So they don't, it's the third party vendors. It's not them.
The third party vendor is the one that's making the copyright infringed clothing.
Correct.
So the third party vendor should do a better job of figuring out if somebody's already made something like this. Wow, they're smart. SHEIN's smart. I bet you
I'm not gonna lie,
not that smart.
I'm not gonna lie, it makes me like a little excited and that like
it's the perfect
they're
setup.
so good at this.
They're very good.
They're so good that I'm like, wow.
I mean, who is top dog in like replicas? I mean, if you want to buy a replica designer good, it's a place you can go for that.
Yeah, of course.
It's typically in China.
In China, yeah.
So they've been doing it a long time.
And I mean, I think the thing is too, like, if you don't know this, I mean, a lot of the manufacturing is offshore.
It's there. So they're basically taking the patterns and the people who used to work in those places and saying, make this, but you know that one little thing that you normally see there, don't put that gold handle there.
Which is why, like, in New York, you can go down some back alley and get a bunch of, like, Louis Vuitton that's not Louis Vuitton, but basically looks exactly like it.
Of course.
So, okay. What's the first question that comes to mind after everything I've just said?
How do I make it so that Temu stops showing up now that I've actually searched it?
I cannot help you with that.
Oh, no.
In fact, the answer to that might be worse than you think. But I think the question a lot of people have is, how do these two giants of e-commerce sell everything so cheap?
I already know the answer to that. This shit is cheap. It's poorly made. Don't we all know that?
Yeah, so Temu, they operate an online market. Mm-hmm. So they sell from different independent sellers, right? They say that they keep their products affordable by connecting customers directly to suppliers, while Temu handles the shipping. So they've basically just described that they are a marketplace. They did not give us any details. But they say that is why it's so cheap. Okay.
They probably don't have a lot of staff either.
It's just it's a technology company.
It's a technology
these
company.
are not, it's like drop shipping.
That's what it is.
If drop shipping was like a huge Chinese, practically IPO company that is like, has tech designers or tech people to be there making
working
them.
on programming and algorithm.
SHEIN, on the other hand, commissions its own goods through manufacturers where they're the primary purchaser. So that's what they and they only focus on fashion. So that's what they say keeps their prices up.
They actually have a warehouse with their stuff in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, interestingly enough, the U.S. House Select Committee, anytime you get to talk about them, I went deep. They assert that Temu can make its products so cheap basically through a loophole.
What is it? I love a
So
loophole.
if you are importing goods valued under $800 to the U.S., you do not have to pay duties, taxes, or fees.
Individual items?
Or undergo rigorous inspection.
But aren't they shipping like whole containers, shipping containers full of this stuff?
No, because they ship directly from China.
So
you're getting a box of like $100. This doesn't have to go through inspection.
Customs
this doesn't have to, for inspection of like normal things like chemicals or hazards or whatever. It doesn't have to go through. They don't have to pay duties. They don't have to pay taxes. They don't have to pay fees for operating because it's such a small amount of stuff. Yeah. So that's how they keep, that's what the U.S. House of Representatives, their committee says, is keeping these so cheap, which when you think about it does make sense. Because if you've ever bought anything from SHEIN or maybe Temu, it's the shipping is going to be like 3 weeks.
It takes a long time. That's why I really don't like it. Even like Boohoo, there's some other companies.
Boohoo is on the list as examples.
I've ordered things and it's taken like over a month to get it. Like, I don't like playing like that.
Yeah. So, that is how they keep their goods cheap. Okay. It's just a loophole, which I find
the shipping
so interesting, right?
It's smart.
It's smart. What comes up a lot when you talk about Temu.
There's a new one. Shemu.
That's the new whale at SeaWorld. Shemu. Shamu's sister. A lot of things come up about ethics.
It's so unethical.
So is one more ethical than the other?
I don't think so.
Not really. Fast fashion, if you want to talk about that, they both sell clothes.
Yeah.
Fast fashion, the industry is responsible for 10% of carbon emissions, if you care about that.
Waste.
But around 85% of clothes end up in landfills.
Right. That's a big issue. I mean, there's
they're burned.
Nonprofits around trying to reduce the impact of all the freaking cheap clothes that we have.
Right. So SHEIN argues that their business model enables them to reduce waste, which I don't think anyone buys, because they're basically saying it's not like they make one design and then they overproduce it.
Right.
They make one design, they make a small demand of it. If no one buys it, then they...
Right.
But that stuff's still being thrown away.
Right. It's still being thrown out.
Right. And then some critics say that, the efforts that they're making to cut down their emissions and their production in this way is still like pales in comparison to the estimated, and I'm going to have to read this to make sure I get this number right, 314,877 new styles per year.
Damn.
Whereas in comparison, H&M produces 4,414 styles.
You know what's so crazy? I feel like H&M and Zara used to be considered fast fashion.
They are fast fashion.
Well, they are from a style like trend standpoint, but not nowhere near this production.
You're talking about like fashion is like fashion, and then there's like fast fashion, which is like H&M, Zara. Yeah. And then like this is
beyond
hyper speed.
Yeah, this is
fashion.
hyper speed.
This
fashion.
is not fast fashion.
No.
This is insanity.
Yeah.
So TEMU. So again, to put it in perspective, SHEIN, and estimated by the Business of Fashion, 314,000 new styles every year. Every year. Whereas H&M, 4,000.
I'm trying to figure out what are all the damn styles. 300,000.
And you know what? If you've been on their site, I would say that you've probably seen a lot of styles that are like really, really similar. And now that I understand their AI model, it makes a lot of sense, because the AI will probably make like 5 different versions of a black T-shirt and then see which one's selling more, and then stop production of the others. But then if a trend comes up for another black T-shirt, they're going to do the same thing, rinse, repeat, and now you've got like 8 different black T-shirts.
Who's buying all this?
Everyone. Every single person. So, talking also about, so that's the ethics around like sustainability. Mm-hmm. So if you care about that, there you care. The other thing, obviously, that we're going to talk about, not to stereotype, but this is a Chinese company, is workers' rights.
They don't have any.
No, we just talked about a strike, and now I'm like, yeah, these people die.
These people would be like, what?
Right.
You get to keep your face, your likeness?
Yeah.
That's been gone.
So a U.S. Congressional Commission called out both SHEIN and TEMU for being potentially linked to forced labor, exploitation of these trade loopholes, like I mentioned, product safety hazards. I didn't really even get into that, but basically, like I said, it allows them to kind of like circumvent. And
it's lead in those clothes.
There is a lot of different chemicals in the clothes.
Yeah,
however, the reason I did not even bring it up is because when you inspect other fast fashion like Zara, H&M, Forever 21, you see very similar amounts.
Oh, I'm sure.
And so in that sense, like, it's under scrutiny right now because of all the other shit I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But
everybody does it.
They're all coming from the same areas.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah.
I just didn't even feel like that was worth really addressing too much, because that's not the bulk, the fat of where this is.
Right.
But basically, yeah, safety hazards, forced labor, trade exploitation, and intellectual property theft, as we talked about, all the suing. So this came out of, basically, Bloomberg did a report showing lab tests on 2 occasions found that garments that were shipped to the United States from SHEIN were made with cotton from...
What? Oh, God.
I don't know how to say this. Xinjiang.
What is that?
Xinjiang.
What is that?
And they have banned all imports from this Chinese region over forced labor. So basically, to sum that up, they looked at different articles of clothing. They tested it. They realized the cotton was from a specific area in China.
Probably like completely like slavery at this point.
It's like it's forced labor.
Yeah.
So
damn.
Do you know what forced labor is?
Yeah.
Not voluntary labor.
No, it's not.
So
but I mean, what's the difference between that and making people in jail make stuff? Well, there's a big difference, because the people in jail are in jail and they're basically property of the state at that point. They're state property.
I like how you...
I mean, I work out these things in my own head. Yeah, you know.
I was going to say, I think jail's another episode.
I mean, yeah, but they make a lot of stuff that we use too. Some people don't like that. But that's kind of scary, because it's like, hold on.
They do get paid something.
I know, but you know, it's like, I don't want to be like consuming...
Oh, I meant the people in jail.
Oh, yeah, they do. They get paid. Yeah. I don't like to be thinking of consuming. We're consuming so much that it's creating a forced labor situation in another country.
For really no reason.
Because it's like, dog, if I was like in that part of China, I'd be like, really? You need this many damn T-shirts with goddamn going Hello Kitty on it? Like, what is wrong with y'all in America?
I do wonder that sometimes. I do wonder, like, what must they think of us?
Yeah, they'd be like, probably when they finally get to sit down. They're like, this is ridiculous. These
they're
people.
the problem is they're sitting down all the time. They're just
I mean, I know, but I'm like, when they finally are like, get a break, they're just like, dude, they cannot possibly be wearing all these clothes. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Shit.
But of course, as you would probably guess from SHEIN, they obviously say that they cannot verify any working conditions because they don't own the factories, because they're not their factories.
But wasn't SHEIN one of these ones that took some damn influencers over to China on a factory tour?
It was.
Gosh,
it was.
I'm done with this.
You're like
now.
reading the future.
I don't like these influencers. They don't even know.
They're saying they've added scrutiny to their choosing of manufacturers so that this is avoided in the future. In 2022, a British documentarian, the documentary is called Inside the SHIEN Machine. Fair. Filmmakers found exhausted employees working up to 18 hours a day, often 7 days a week. The workers were required, this is from like CNN, they were required to meet strict quotas and were paid as little as $20 a day, and sometimes fined up to 2/3 of their daily wages if they made mistakes.
Oh, that's not nice.
That is kind of fucked up.
I mean, listen, I get into this too. I think it's bad, but like, it's a difference between that and like being forced to work without
pay.
Yeah.
Basically slavery is what you're describing.
Like you've taken over a certain region or province that's extremely poor, and it's like,
if you guys want to eat, you got to go work.
Yeah, or you're in debt for some whatever reason because of just the system that you live in.
Well, it's kind of like jail. Because there used to be debtors' prisons.
You have to work, you know what I mean? And there's kids and stuff doing it like that. I mean, this is unfortunate what these people are talking about, but you know.
So, yeah, and this kind of like more public scrutiny of SHEIN's labor force has started this thing where customers are saying that they're finding help me notes in the tags of their clothes.
Stop playing. Now they're making this up.
I'm serious. I am dead serious. They say that they're finding.
Who said that?
People online
said they found help me notes in the SHEIN clothes.
If you pause right now and you Google help me SHEIN tags, it will come up. You will see that. Now, have they been confirmed? No. How could they be confirmed? I don't know. Some of them are definitely hoaxes.
Are they written in English?
That's the thing too, right? Like, I mean, I have to imagine that the Chinese know some English.
But how is it written?
Like, help me, please.
That's all they said. Who the hell are you? Where you at? How I'm supposed to help you? It's gotta say smart. Help me. I'm Nicole in same province. Like, here's my number. Here's my TikTok.
You don't have a phone. You're in China.
Right. It's like,
you're a labor worker.
How am I supposed to help you?
Anyway, SHEIN responded to these claims, refuting the allegations, of course. I'm sure that's shocking to anyone who's listening. And whatever. They did an investigation. The investigation did come out that 2 of their suppliers, because remember, they don't own them. They're the suppliers.
We're somewhere crazy in a dungeon.
No, they were working longer hours than they allowed.
Yeah, I bet.
Okay. Yep. The company has since reduced the size of their orders on an interim basis.
So this case is done.
And they've committed to upgrading their partner factories. Right? Okay. 15 million.
They are so ruthless. It's insane.
Bro, but
this
like,
is how they winning.
I was just going to say, like, part of me, I just have to be like, respect.
You gotta respect the game.
I have to respect the game because you are on another level of not giving a shit.
You don't care.
You do not care. You do not care.
And like, care.
As someone who like purports to not care.
Yeah, but this is another level.
When I see that level of not giving a fuck,
the only goal is the end goal.
I mean,
of domination.
I'm gonna say. Like, not spoiler, but side note, I do not think it's right.
I don't either.
I'm not saying it's right, but like,
when is winning ever right? I
but
mean, most
holy
of the time,
God,
winning at any cost is not right.
No, at any cost. That's how you end up with people putting tags saying "Help me, please."
With no contact information. I don't buy it.
So anyway,
I don't buy that part. Jeez,
so that's Shein, and they're talking about, like I said, upgrading their partner factories
taking
to like
influencers on tours.
$15 million in upgrades. But yeah, I mean, like $15 million, you can't imagine how much they're making. They want to go public soon, and they've been like pushing that back. So they're trying to do an IPO.
Ooh.
And they're probably gonna they're gonna have the money to do it and the valuation. So that's gonna be crazy.
That's what his goal is.
And
go public and probably sell it.
And what's crazy, I mean, even if he doesn't sell it, like you've taken a company from China, you've successfully infiltrated the U.S. market, you've completely reshaped how it works, and now you're going to be trading in probably like pretty high in the stock market. So I mean, that's
done. You can move on to the next conquest.
It's very interesting what they've done, and as you've mentioned a few times, yes, they did bring influencers. So they took these influencers and they brought them to a Shein factory, and
a factory.
Yeah, I don't know if you could have guessed this, but everyone in the factory was like super happy to be working.
Great. We love this.
Yeah, they were like very pleased to be working at Shein. And then of course they got a lot of scrutiny and backlash. So the influencers, and a lot of them apologized, and a lot of I don't want to go to China.
I wouldn't mind if it was free.
I'm not going to China. No,
do it.
Are you kidding? They're gonna put something in my arm, or like no, hell no.
I mean,
look,
yeah, you probably.
I'm not interested.
Get a lot of stuff put in you, but
I'm good.
Go ahead and go for the ride.
I don't want to be your friend.
I just wouldn't want to have to go on the tours. I'm like, okay, let's wrap this up. I'm trying to go to like Shanghai
the Great Wall
tonight.
So, yeah, that's Shein. Other side.
Shein, damn dog. Shein is
ruthless. So TEMU, on the other hand, has not faced such allegations. However, its sister company received backlash in 2021 over allegations that it overworked staff. So TEMU is owned by PDD, which is a holding company out of formerly China, now the Cayman Islands. Can't imagine why.
Yeah, they do it all in the Caymans.
I fucking love, like...
They do it all in the Caymans.
It's like... It's just how good it is. It's next level.
I want to know who their lawyers are.
So, PDD runs out of the Cayman Islands, formerly China. They have two companies, or I should say two companies that matter for the purposes of this story. There's TEMU, which we talked about, and their headquarters, they call themselves a multinational firm now. Their headquarters are in Boston, Massachusetts, and I believe in Singapore is what they're saying. Mm-hmm. So no ties to China. Meanwhile, they also have another company called Pinduoduo.
Oh, you got your pronunciation.
I tried I had a look. I was like, I tried real hard. So Pinduoduo has had issues because they've had issues with workers dying. So of the ones that I could find, there was a worker who committed suicide.
On the job.
I believe so, or right after. I couldn't find too much about it. They're definitely good about, like, you know, keeping stuff together.
Which is also brilliant because China is state-run media. So whatever they don't want to get out or report it just doesn't.
Right. And there's also allegations of a 996 schedule. Do you know what this is?
What is that?
A 996 schedule is when you work 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. for 6 days a week. And this is considered to be like basically the standard if you want to work in China in tech.
Makes sense to me.
So
I mean, what do you want me to say? It's what residents, doctors do in the beginning half the time. It's nurses doing that shit. Maybe not 6 days a week, but 4 or 5.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. I agree with you.
So what happened was, you know, there's allegations of, like 996 in China allegedly is like I said, that's just what you do
when you work in tech.
That's just what you do. You want to be in tech, you work 996.
If you don't want to do this, then
don't work in tech.
Don't work in tech.
But workers have been collapsing of exhaustion. There was a girl who was walking home from work and just fell essentially dead in the street. And she had to go like resuscitation for like 6 hours.
But Elizabeth, look, what about, I mean, take a look around here, for example. Not necessarily. Okay. Just a scroll of the news feeds and I mean, Americans work themselves to death as well, just in different ways.
Yeah, we don't do it as good as them though, huh? Like, holy shit, no one
do it because we're coping with our schedule, so we just eat like donuts every night.
Yeah,
and then
no one's
high blood
working.
pressure.
No one's working like this much and then making like a company that's changing an industry as they know it. You know what I mean?
Anymore.
Like we're just
We used to
dying
do
for
that.
no reason.
We
Yeah.
used to do it.
So yeah, and this did make like these allegations of this worker collapsing of exhaustion on her walk home did cause a stir in China.
You gotta give people breaks.
Apparently not. So that caused a stir over there, and so that's all. Like I said, so TEMU not directly related, but they're owned by PDD, who has these allegations with Pinduoduo. So like, there's obviously like, I mean, you think one's happening, it's probably happening at the other.
Yeah.
I would argue that, you know, SHIEN has been around so much longer. There's been more time and also more, I don't even want to say evidence, because the thing is, SHIEN's really good at being shady. Like, SHIEN is
they probably have had so much stuff happen we have no idea about.
And like, their founder is really hard to get a hold of. Like, he doesn't exist.
I don't even know what he looks like.
Not much is known about him as a person. Like, it's very just like
stealth operation.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Which works for them, clearly. So TEMU, kind of similar. I think personally, you're going to find, I think two things. One, since it's not fast fashion, it's not as trendy to talk about.
It's not. It doesn't look as cool either. Their branding isn't as cool as SHEIN.
And then because like a fast fashion is just gonna get more eyeballs anyway.
Yeah, the branding of fast fashion
stuff you wear.
More interesting.
You're taking from other designs, all this stuff, right? Whereas like where you can buy a 30-cent sponge is not gonna be the talk of town.
No, it's not.
But I would argue they probably are gonna have similar things and just not get talked about. So, should you buy from these stores?
That's a good question. You got me thinking twice now about picking up the SHEIN dresses that I see at Plato's Closet.
So, well, beyond everything that I just told you, let's say you're, you know, sustainability, the stuff about labor, all that stuff. You're like, Elizabeth, I'm still not sure. Should I buy from, and again, like I said, full transparency. I have purchased from SHEIN, and we can talk about what maybe our
thresholds, what
our shopping behaviors will be after this.
Okay.
But there's also another giant elephant in the room.
What?
So China is here.
Yes, China.
So they're both Chinese. China.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Okay, so TEMU, like I said, bills itself as a multinational firm. They say they're headquartered in Boston, but that's not entirely true. They're owned by PDD, which was founded in China and has basically roots in China, but is now billing itself as a Cayman Island company for reasons unknown. Can't imagine why.
Why would they do such a thing?
CNN reports that as of February, PDD's head office was in Shanghai, but TEMU again still says that they don't operate in China. So going back to Pinduoduo, which is a hugely popular Chinese e-commerce giant. So you've got TEMU in the States, you've got Pinduoduo in China. CNN did like a really deep investigation into specifically Pinduoduo, and they found that it has the ability to spy on its users. So basically, according to cybersecurity researchers, Pinduoduo can circumvent users' mobile security.
Okay.
This is according to a CNN investigation. So they can see what they're doing on the apps, read their messages, and even change their settings. So they can go into your... So I know with TikTok, we always talk, which is another Chinese company.
They're funneling them through TikTok, too. I mean, they're taking, you know, all the data from that as well.
Right, but with TikTok, we talk a lot about data.
Yeah.
With TEMU, or I should say Pinduoduo, PDD, we're talking about them being able to go into your phone and change your settings.
That's what that spin the wheel game is, I feel like, on TEMU. Seriously, when I saw that and the fact that the usability of it, it's hard to find a little X to get rid of it.
Yep.
It stays on your phone for a long time.
Yep. That happened to me last night when I was like, stop.
You couldn't find the X because they hide it.
It wasn't there.
Well, it wasn't, right, after a
while.
Yeah. So it's like it's doing something while it's on your phone.
Probably.
That's my theory.
So it's important to note, potentially, I guess, legal reasons. I don't know. I don't think anyone cares. I don't think TEMU's coming after us, but TEMU has not been implicated. and the stuff happening
Listen, this is all conjecture. This is all theory. I have no information.
You're not trying to get taken to China.
I have no information that this is fact. I'm just saying what I think.
So TEMU has not been implicated. However, the allegations about their sister company, Pinduoduo, obviously have invited further scrutiny, and Congress has been looking into it. They've been asking for reports on it. PDD hasn't said anything about this. They didn't respond to CNN about the investigation. And SHIEN, which was founded by Chris Zhu, is even more shady and less transparent. We know basically nothing about them. We know about their business model and stuff, but you know, I'm sure that has more to do with the fact that he wants to go public than anything else.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we don't really know anything about these companies except that they're definitely going to be spying on you, which I don't think you should be shocked if you know they're from China. So yeah, should you shop there? I mean, I don't know. After all this, what do you think?
Well, I feel better about buying SHEIN from Plato's Closet because it's used, and I feel like that's preventing it from going into a landfill.
Sure.
So that was sort of like my ethical thought behind it. And I mean, it's not a lot. Like I've gotten maybe 2 pieces from there, but I also am sort of like, okay, and what's new? I buy Nikes. Like I buy, Sony. I buy whatever. Like we know that all of these
even Apple,
I didn't want to say it, but even Apple, we buy from all these companies that we know are being produced in China that probably have shady production and manufacturing and workplace laws. Why am I going to stop now? Now all of a sudden SHEIN, now this is where I draw the line.
Yeah.
Why?
It does feel, I want to say 2 things. So first, I agree with you in the sense of like, it's weird to pick and choose.
Yeah. Why are you picking and choosing now?
I'm sure that the spokespeople behind TEMU or SHEIN would say that we are targeting them for being Chinese. And that could be true. Yeah, I think there's probably a lot to that.
There's some American stuff that people say, yeah, I'm not going to do that because Americans do that pretty crappy or whatever.
Well, I just mean more like, if it's Apple or Nike or these like American brands. We're cool with Nike making shoes in China under almost forced labor or similar conditions.
Yes.
But this company, it's bad.
That's what I'm saying. Why all of a sudden are we getting a conscience because it's SHEIN?
Right. And then the other thing I would say is like, I don't like to say that things are performative, but in this case, I have to ask everyone who's complaining, if y'all really ain't buying SHEIN, then who the fuck is?
Who is buying SHEIN?
Who is buying SHEIN?
Everybody.
Right. So, like, what are you like, for the amount of packages, like, I've seen, going into this, like, looking it all up, I've seen video of, like, post offices and UPSs, and it's, like, all, like, SHEIN,
and they put everything in an individual damn bag, too. It's so wasteful.
Trade.
That's true.
So, and you see, like, a whole conveyor belt of just orange TEMU bags.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so if we all agree that this is fucked up, then who is buying it? You know what I'm saying?
So what difference is it going to make if you say, I'm not going to buy from TEMU?
I think, here's my actual take on it, is this. I think it's not to use this word because I don't really like it, but I think it's a really privileged stance to talk about fast fashion in the sense of, I don't do that because it's not right. Because I think if you've ever been, I shouldn't say that, but I would say most people have gone through a point in their life where
they didn't have a lot of money.
They did not have a lot of money, and either it's a situation where it's back to school and you got to put a shirt on your kid's back, or honestly, you just don't want to look like a paper bag and you can't afford
you need
to
get your look together a little bit. You might have started a new job and maybe didn't have a lot of money going into it. You might, I mean, it doesn't, like, whatever it is, we all are having varying degrees of economic distress at this time period, even if you are.
Or before. Or
after. Even if you are someone that some might consider, like, well off, like, you still may have to look at things and say, do I need to spend money on that?
Right. And, like, I think, like, personally, if someone makes that choice because that's just what they need to do. I'm not going to be the judge of that.
Me neither.
Because I have bought from SHEIN, and I will probably buy from SHEIN in the future. I can't see myself buying from TEMU.
I just don't like the stuff on the site.
I don't like the stuff. I don't like the site. I don't like the whole thing's weird and sketchy.
My information.
SHEIN was sketchy enough, but you know, it is what it is. Sometimes you get a banger.
True.
Sometimes you're like, what? This is not meant for a human being. Like, what? Why is there 3 armholes? Like, you're like, what is this? But, so yeah, I'm not going to judge. And if you're one of those people that is really going to judge, you know, so in that sense, I think, live your life, do what you can, make the best decisions. Like, maybe don't buy a haul just because you want to buy a haul.
Yeah. Maybe just buy what you need.
If you buy a shirt and you wear it like 8 different times, you know, a bunch of times until it's broken, then like, who cares? Like, then do what you need to do to have
Or if you do get a haul, maybe donate it.
I'm against hauls in general.
Okay.
I think it's pretty like shitty. But I mean, yeah, if you are actually gonna wear the clothes more than once, buy the clothes. But if you're one of those people that, like, you know, does want to complain about SHEIN, but then is going to give money to these companies that do the same thing, it's just like my argument about recycling. When you're one of those people that like is really into recycling, and yet you buy packages from Amazon all the time,
a case of water bottles,
right? And now I'm not saying that that's your fault. Obviously, this is on the corporations, but what I am saying is that like, you're kind of still contributing to the problem. So just be realistic about it. So if you are gonna like really hate on people for SHEIN or like be on your high horse about it, then like, I would hope and respect if you took that energy into the other brands and shopping decisions you make in your life and not just fashion.
That's a great point. I think that's very well said.
Because, yeah, if you don't, then...
What difference does it make?
What are you talking about?
Just saying something to say something.
Yeah.
And that's just really not necessary right now.
Yeah.
Just buy the damn SHEIN and keep it moving.
Keep it moving, man. It sucks. Maybe you don't need, like, coasters for your cup holders, though.
Maybe you don't need coasters in the car.
Yeah. Maybe, like... I watch someone I know is gonna be like, I cannot believe you said that. After this whole thing, they're gonna be like, you know, that was with you until you said that thing about the coasters, and then. But yeah, I mean, consider your consumerism in general.
I think that's a good point to make. Just in general, don't just glom onto this trendy thing of like, I don't wear SHEIN, I don't like SHEIN.
Can't. They went to the factory. Yeah, they're stupid influencers. Right. What did you think?
So, like, don't just glom onto that. Just be cognizant of what you're consuming in general and how that may have an effect on the rest of the world. Yeah,
and like I said, I think a lot of people like to preach healthy consumerism or like healthy for the environment, healthy for themselves consumerism, but then who the hell is buying it? Somebody's got to be.
Yeah.
Well,
I like that one.
Now you know what TEMU is. Did I answer all your questions?
You answered them enough that I'm not going to be getting on TEMU.
There you go.
Thank you for that.
I'm just presented the facts, but
I appreciate it.
Now you know.
I made my own decision.
Well, I hope you like what you heard. Please let us know if you will be buying from SHEIN or TEMU. If you already have, we'd love to know. Especially TEMU, I think, because we haven't bought from there.
Bought from TEMU?
Let us know. We'd love to know. Thanks for listening. If you like what you heard, please make sure to rate, review, and subscribe. If you rate us on Apple Podcasts, we will make sure to read it out loud on the show.
For sure. Thanks.
Thank you.
See you.